All right, let's talk about those huge, intimidating challenges we all face. What if I told you the secret to navigating them wasn't in some business textbook, but was actually perfected by a whip-wielding archaeologist? Believe it or not, we're about to uncover this surprising link between Indiana Jones and a really powerful framework for success called the Innovation Kata. It sounds a little wild, doesn't it? How can a movie hero who's obsessed with ancient relics actually help us solve modern-day problems? Well, it turns out that the very method Indy uses to survive all of those booby-trapped temples is a perfect blueprint for navigating uncertainty and hitting some pretty incredible goals. And that blueprint, that secret method, it's called the kata. Now, don't let the word throw you. A kata is really just a routine, a repeatable practice that you can master. Think of it like learning martial arts, but for problem solving. It's a way to train yourself to tackle any challenge, not with random guesswork, but with a creative and really purposeful strategy. So here's the map for our expedition today. We'll start with the big picture framework itself. Then we're going to break down each of the 4 stages, from defining your prize all the way to dodging the darts. And finally, we'll see why this is a quest that never really ends. And here it is, the whole adventure laid out in 4 core steps. First, you've got to know where you're ultimately going. Second, you have to be brutally honest about where you are right now. Third, you set your very next achievable goal. And finally, you start taking small, smart steps to get there. That's the whole cycle. All right, let's jump into stage 1, defining the prize. Because let's be real, before you take a single step into that jungle, you have to know what treasure you're looking for. This is all about establishing that big, long-term vision. Just think about it. For Indiana Jones, the mission is crystal clear. Find the Ark of the Covenant or find the Holy Grail. No question about it. For you, it's about defining your true north. That's the term for it. That ultimate ambitious goal that acts like a guiding star for every single decision you make along the way. So what's important here? Well, your true north can't be boring. It has to be challenging enough to be genuinely inspiring, and you have to be able to communicate it clearly to everybody involved. Why? Because having that clear destination acts as your compass. It prevents you from wasting time and energy wandering around aimlessly. Indy never just wanders. He's always on a mission. Once you know your destination, it's time for stage 2, survey the temple. You simply can't chart a path forward until you know exactly where you're standing and, more importantly, what's standing in your way. This is all about honest, objective assessment. I absolutely love this comparison. Indy never just runs blindly into a corridor. No way. He stops. He looks for the subtle glint of a tripwire, for patterns in the dust on the floor. He's collecting data. In our world, that means we have to objectively describe our current condition with facts and metrics, not just feelings or assumptions. This is so vital because it forces us to see things as they actually are, not as we wish they were. So how do you actually do this? You list out the real obstacles. You have to admit what you don't know yet, and trust me, that's a sign of strength, not weakness. And you establish some baseline metrics so you can actually measure your progress later. The key takeaway is simple. Collect data, don't just assume the path is clear. Okay, so you know your ultimate destination and you know your exact starting point. Now for stage 3, cross the chasm. The gap between those 2 points is often huge and intimidating, so you need to set a focused, short-term goal to start bridging it. Indy can't leap across an entire temple cavern in a single bound. His immediate target is smaller, way more focused. Get to that lever on the other side of the pit. For us, this is what we call the next target condition, a specific, measurable milestone that moves us one significant step closer to our true north. A good target condition has to be specific and measurable. No vague goals allowed. It should be something you can pull off in a relatively short time, like a couple of weeks, just to keep the momentum going. And here's the secret sauce. It should be set just outside your comfort zone, forcing you to learn something new to get there. This focuses all your team's effort on what matters right now. And now we get to the action. Stage 4. Dodging the darts. This is where you actually close that gap between your current reality and your next target. And you don't do it with some perfect, massive plan. You do it through constant experimentation and learning. Just think about it. Indy is constantly iterating. He's testing the floor with a sandbag. He's trying his wit from a different angle. He is running small, fast experiments. Your action is the same. You use a rapid cycle of scientific experimentation, which is often called plan, do, check, adjust, or PDCA. Let's break that down real quick. First, you plan. What do you expect to happen when you try this one small thing? Then you do it. You run the experiment. Next, you check. Did you get the result you expected? And finally, you adjust. Based on what you just learned, what's your very next step? Every single cycle teaches you something vital. This brings us to a really, really important point. The kata isn't a checklist you finish just once. It is a continuous journey, a loop of constant improvement. It truly is a never-ending quest. As soon as you hit your target condition, that achievement becomes your new current condition. You immediately reassess where you are. You set the next target condition on the path to your true north, and you repeat the whole process all over again. It is this beautiful cycle of perpetual progress. So the real secret here is to stop waiting for that one perfect, grand solution to appear out of thin air. The path to real innovation lies in making intelligent, focused progress every single day. So grab your fedora, assess the current traps, set your next target, and start iterating. And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Take a moment and ask yourself, what's your holy grail? What is that ultimate, inspiring direction you're truly aiming for? Because once you know that, you have the first and most important piece of the map.